Why does professional soccer often seem so slow? I'm sure every footballer at some point has watched a high-level professional game and thought they could compete. Whether it's a game in the lower leagues or a Champions League final, there are moments where the game seems stagnant, slow, or boring. Today's players are faster and more athletic than ever before in the history of the sport. Dynamic, attacking players draw attention, but much of the game seems to be spent in a sort of limbo with not a lot of action. But why is this? Reason number one is the heavy emphasis on discipline and strategy at the professional level. At lower levels, the lower technical level and soccer IQ allows teams to implement uncoordinated high pressing and oftentimes be rewarded for this. Since this sort of behavior is rewarded through the player on the ball not having the ability to deal with pressure, players develop poor habits and coaches reinforce actions that will not work at a higher level. So these lower level matches tend to have more high intensity moments for a greater portion of the game as players run around trying to force random errors from the opposition. But at the professional level, uncoordinated pressing will likely result in the opposition picking apart the defending team in pockets and spaces that have been opened up between the lines and players, resulting from poor discipline or strategy. Most professional players with a ball at their feet will be able to work around this, and the defender will have wasted energy and created space behind them for the opposition to exploit. And if the opposition can find their creative attacking players in these areas, defending teams will struggle to deny dangerous goal-scoring opportunities. So this leads to coaches implementing tactics that discourage individuals from chasing around to win a ball back mindlessly, as there is a lower chance of success. And of course, the defenders understand that running full speed at a world-class player will be wasted effort, so they work as a cohesive unit to slow down the attacking team and try to force them into areas that they believe they are more likely to win the ball back with minimal risk. Now, of course, there's still pressure from defending teams, but they're much more intelligent in how they go about closing down space in comparison to games at a lower level. They'll utilize curved runs, cutting off angles, closing space off more cautiously, and communicating with the players around them to increase their chances of success in these moments. Now, some teams may implement a very high press if they believe the opposition doesn't have the technical ability or the structure to handle the pressure, but typically you see teams really showing respect to opposition and their ability by ensuring that they have dangerous positions closed off before stepping and putting intense pressure on the ball. Typically, the higher the level of a team and of its individuals means that that team will have more possession in less dangerous areas of the pitch. And this is a result of the defending team understanding that their opposition carries immense threat with the ball. So they drop in closer to their goal, they bring numbers back, and they look to take away these dangerous central areas from their opposition. And as these teams start to drop off, it means that the team in possession now has more time on the ball in their own half or prior to that line of confrontation from the defending team, and they also have the ability to use the wide areas as the defending team drops in deeper, closer to their own goal, and centrally to take away those chances. And this can really make the game appear slow as it becomes a battle of ability with the team on the ball, and it really becomes a battle of will as well. You have the attacking team, and they're going to try to stick to their game plan of drawing out the defending team, trying to draw them out to put pressure and exploit the areas that they vacate. But then you also have the defending team that's trying to hold their positions, stick to their game plan. So it really comes down to whether or not the defending team is going to have the discipline to stick to the strategy that the manager wants to implement. We're going to dive into a few more reasons in just a second, but I want to know, do you prefer the end-to-end games with a lot of attacking opportunities and scoring chances, or do you prefer to see the tactical battles between managers and players, which typically means a slower game? Let me know in the comments what you prefer. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, reason number two is that professional footballers have the ability to consistently execute the simple things. At the professional level, players move the ball so quickly that it's difficult for defenders to get close to the ball at times. At lower levels, it is often encouraged that the fast, physical players be workhorses defensively and chase down the opposition, which can't typically handle the pressure. but the vast majority of professional footballers would be able to find a simple pass in 1, maybe 2 touches that doesn't allow this type of player to even get close to winning the ball. When all 11 players, yes, including goalkeepers, which are now more technical than ever before, can execute 1 or 2 touch passing and have good off the ball movement, it's so difficult to close down space and put in a tackle. The moment that you might get close enough to the ball to actually put in a tackle, the opposition player probably has several passing lanes and is already moving the ball away. If you watch the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, or other high-level leagues, the attacking teams typically move the ball the moment a defender takes a few steps forward, as they're looking for angles to exploit the space that the defender has vacated. If the defender gets close to the ball, usually the ball gets moved on and it's a series of defenders trying to get tackles in before passing lanes are opened up for the attacking team. And with all this effort that can so easily be wasted, you're more likely to see teams sitting in a mid or low block, especially when playing against higher level opposition and waiting for a pressing trigger to move up the field as a unit or step individually to win the ball back for their team. Defending players and teams will likely look for a bouncing ball, a backwards pass, or a ball being stuck on a player's weak foot as a pressing trigger so that they can step up and win that ball. Now, each team will have their own unique pressing triggers, likely for individual games and the strategy that they bring. And these extremely intense moments are much more concentrated at an elite level than, say, at a high school level, club level, or an amateur level, where players will exhaust themselves by trying to work at 100% for maybe 20 minutes before even attempting to recover. Again, as this sort of behavior is often rewarded by players winning the ball and by coaches that want their players to be workhorses and to continue putting that pressure to force errors. And finally, reason number 3 is that teams are highly organized due to the professional nature, having rigorous training day in and day out, and having a full understanding from the coaching staff of what their specific role is in that system on that day. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, but at a lower level, there's a lot less patience than at the professional level. At a lower level, you might have a high school winger that's looking to take on an outside back 15, 20 times in an 80-minute game. Whereas at the professional level, there is so much more patience and teams are so much more organized defensively that attacking teams really have to work the ball and choose opportune moments. And this really might lead to, at a professional level, a winger only having a select few opportunities to get into 1v1 situations. Because the professional level is so much less reliant on raw athleticism. Again, at these lower levels, if you have a freak athlete, you can say, okay, go kick him the ball, go kick her the ball, and let the player go do whatever they want. Go in and run around because they have this athleticism and this level that nobody else can compete with athletically. But when you get to the professional level, there's such a high level of athleticism that it leads to games slowing down because teams can't rely on that and just go kick a ball and run for 90+ minutes. So you're much more likely to see at the professional level lateral passes, backward passes, attempting to break the organization of the defending team. And this is in contrast to at the lower level, seeing a lot more vertical play. It looks more like a basketball game. It's end to end, everything's going straight, and it's looking to just create errors over and over again. Now on the defensive side, patience is key for maybe a relegation side coming up against a team in a Champions League place in the league. Against the higher level opposition, defenders are constantly checking their shoulder and the surrounding area to ensure that there's no dangerous space they've left open. They stick to their 4-4-2 low block or whatever formation and strategy the manager has chosen to implement, look to force the opposition backward or out of these central areas that are dangerous, and they remain patient for a moment to pounce on a loose pass or a loose touch to step up at a maximum effort to win the ball back and earn some active recovery with the ball before repeating the process for, say, 90 minutes. And these teams may only have 1 or 2 identified moments or pressing triggers where they will really risk coming out of a solid defensive shape. So this can lead to a game stagnating as the attacking team looks to test the organization of the defenders. So those are 3 reasons why the professional level can look much slower than an amateur, academy, high school, or club level. And even though players in general are much more athletic at the professional level, there's so many factors that go into play, as we discussed. And you can also look at camera angles have an impact, as with the wide scanning camera angles, it's tougher to see into those battles, into those moments on the pitch. And then also you look at the physical demands of a highly rigorous schedule. If teams and players are playing 60 matches in a calendar year, then it's going to wear on the players, and the physical demands can actually slow the game down as well. Fortunately for us, there are plenty of professional, high-quality games where you see two attacking sides say, we're going to go for it. If you think of certain teams, you look at teams that always press high, they have this identity that they're really going to go for the game, whether it's a team at the top of the Premier League or it's a team near the bottom that just says, this is our identity and this is what we're going to do. So there are really those games and those moments where, as supporters, as neutrals, we can look at a game and really enjoy the end-to-end nature of the sport at a high level. But when you look at these slower games, the tactical matchups, you can really enjoy that IQ, the understanding of the game and the battle that's going on in these slower matches. Try to appreciate the tactical battles between the managers, between the players, as it's more like a chess match and players have to use their brains to really think, how am I going to win this game? All right, so if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe and comment your favorite type of game to watch. Do you like those end-to-end games, or do you like those slower tactical battles that exist in certain games? Thank you again. Catch you in the next one.